Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in and checking out the video. Now, this video is going to be talking about the matchup between Terence Crawford versus Ray Beltran. I'm going to give you guys a prediction for this fight. I hope you guys enjoy the video. So let me first start off with this fight in general. I think this fight is getting overlooked because there's so many great fights that are happening in November. But personally, in my opinion, I really love this matchup, and it's one of my favorite fights in the month of November. I've been looking forward to this fight for quite a long time. Both of these guys are good fighters, and Terence Crawford, when he fights in Omaha, Nebraska, it's just an electric atmosphere. He's a local fighter, so everybody gets behind him and they really support him. And it's great to watch the fans going crazy, cheering on Terence Crawford when he fights in Nebraska. It's really cool to see. And I love that Yorkis Gamboa fight Terence Crawford was in. That was a Fight of the Year candidate for sure, in my opinion. Now, moving on to this fight, just a sidebar I wanted to kind of give you guys. What happened was Ray Beltran went over to fight Ricky Burns, and he was robbed in that fight. Ray Beltran should have taken Ricky Burns' title home with him. So you fast forward, and Terence Crawford ends up getting an opportunity to fight Ricky Burns and ends up putting on an excellent performance and defeating Ricky Burns and taking his title. So it's kind of interesting how everything worked out, and now you got Terence Crawford versus Ray Beltran now fighting each other, kind of to show, I guess, who is the real champion in that regard. Both of these guys, highly skilled fighters. I have a lot of respect for both of these guys. So let me first start off with Ray Beltran. Ray Beltran is a tough Mexican fighter. He's a guy who sparred Manny Pacquiao for a number of years. That type of experience is excellent for a fighter. Also, when I look at Ray Beltran, he's a guy who likes to back his opponents down. He likes to walk down his opponents, be the aggressive fighter, but he does so in a smart manner. And one thing I like when I watch Ray Beltran, I like his left hook to the body when he backs up his opponents on the ropes. And I also like the way he moves his head when he's fighting on the inside so he doesn't get hit with too many shots. I think that's something that's underrated in his game. He's a smart fighter, and he's very technical as well. So he's a guy who I think that a lot of people think of Ray Beltran as just kind of an aggressive fighter with a limited skill set, but I think that he's a better fighter than that in my opinion. And he does some nice work on the ropes, Ray Beltran does, so that's somewhere you don't want to be with him. Now, when I talk about Terence Crawford, this is a guy, he has an excellent jab. He's a guy who has tremendous composure throughout his fights. He does not get rattled at all, and he's amazing at making adjustments throughout the fight. You saw that in the Gamboa fight. Gamboa came out and he got the early rounds of that fight, but Terence Crawford in the second half of that fight really turned it up on him and completely dominated him. Terence Crawford is extremely versatile as well. He's very accurate. He's a guy who has some pop in his punches. He can also counter punch you. He can also switch stances. So this is a guy that I see being a future superstar in the sport of boxing and the pound-for-pound discussions for many years to come. So that's why this fight is going to be so good. We get two highly skilled fighters. Now, for this fight, what do I think both fighters want to do? Well, I think that Terence Crawford is going to want to come out and see what Ray Beltran brings to the table. I think that he's going to see what Ray Beltran is doing early on and adjust to what Ray Beltran is doing, maybe switch to southpaw stance, switch stances throughout the fight, figure out Ray Beltran, box in the center of the ring, counter him, throw off his timing. Those are some things that I think Terence Crawford will do, and just use his smart in-ring tactics that he does. Now, if you're Ray Beltran, I think that Ray Beltran's game plan for this fight is to back up Terence Crawford on the ropes and land at will and really try to impose his will on the inside in this fight. Make it a rough fight. That's what I think that Ray Beltran wants to do in this matchup. But for this fight, guys, I am going to have to go with Terence Crawford winning a decision in this fight. I just think Terence Crawford has more of the skill of the two fighters, and I think that his adjustments in the mid-rounds of the fight is really going to make the difference in the fight. And I see him completely dominating the second half of the fight. I see Ray Beltran winning some rounds early, like similar to the Gamboa fight, I think, in my opinion, but I think Crawford just will adjust, and show that champion spirit that he has. And he's just such a smart fighter. He's so well-rounded that it's really hard to beat this guy. This is a guy who I can't say enough good things about as a fighter. And outside of the ring, he's extremely humble as well. So he's a guy to definitely watch. If you haven't seen Terence Crawford, you're going to want to watch him now. Future superstar in the sport of boxing. Both of these guys, good fighters. It's a good night of fights. Let me know what you guys think, guys. Ray Beltran, no slouch. He's going to be a tough fight for Terence Crawford. He's going to bring it, and he's going to never quit. So that's a guy who's going to be hard to put away. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning into the video. I really appreciate it. Give me your thoughts on the fight, and subscribe if you already haven't. Thank you, guys.